Good morning and welcome to Morning Coach today. I am so glad you're with us. Hey, it's a great day to be alive. Let me tell you, we got a lot of things going on here. We're excited that you're a part of this. It is March 10th, 2025. It is a Monday, episode number 5631. And we're going to get into strengths and weaknesses this week. I got a really exciting week planned for you. And as always, make sure you wake up, take some time for self-care. You're here to listen to the CoachCast. Get your day planned. We're in a due month, meaning we should be executing on our mission, what you're accomplishing this year, our vision, who we're going to become, and then using those 7 Ps, really get the right perspective and get those priorities in place as we start our day. And then, of course, stop by the community for accountability questions and support. We're going to talk a little bit about that because we are really going to start moving forward with meetups, more meetups, and also the community. We'd love to have you with the new site. It's so much better. It just works. All the hubs we're putting together, even right now, the Remarkables up there, you have the Morning Coach Hub, and now we're going to be building out the ILD for the summer and also the longevity hubs with the new planner. So there's a lot of stuff going on there that's really organized based on specific needs that you have. And I know a lot of you have come from productivity or from the metaphysical. That's great. We just keep expanding with our expertise. And by the way, a lot of our inner circle members are going to be coming back and forth too because we put a hub in there for them, which just makes everything in one place so much easier for me. But I don't want to get into that today. I just want to tell you, if you get a chance, use the site, hub.morningcoach.com. Go in the community. Sheldon's posting in there. Jurgen's posting every day. They're putting motivational ideas and thoughts. Roger was up there talking about Google Sheets. It's just a great group. John's in there helping, so it's a great group of people. Okay, so this week, what are we doing? We're talking about strengths or weaknesses and what should you work on. We're going to talk about that today. Tomorrow, we're going to finish the book, The Dip, which is our book study. We're doing 2 books, and I want to get through The Dip, which is Seth Godin's very small book, and then we'll move to Quit for a couple weeks. That's a very big book, but we'll hit some of the main points. And really, the idea is, when do you walk away? Okay, and we're going to talk about that, which is a really fun kind of couple books. Seth's a marketer, and then the author of The Power of Knowing When to Walk Away is actually from a poker background, which is interesting, right? Remember the old Kenny Rogers, got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them? So that's why we're going to get into that the next couple weeks. Then Wednesday, we've got what determines what a strength is about. What are yours? And, what about a weakness? So we're going to keep getting into that a little bit more. On Thursday, we're going to talk about finding that fire on a daily basis when things aren't working, you know what I mean? Or maybe they are, but you want that energy. And we all have those issues. I mean, I'm training for the marathon coming up, and there's sometimes I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm doing massive amounts of mileage on the weekends, 30, 40 miles. It's a lot of work on my body. And so I've had some Tuesdays and Wednesdays I've been tired. I'll talk about getting the fire when you're having that tiredness, right? Friday, we got understanding letting go and allowing things to work. That surrender aspect of things that we learned about years ago from Michael Singer, but some other concepts that have come up recently, especially with finances. So that's going to be a good one. Of course, Dr. Paul on Saturdays, who always brings us his wisdom and knowledge. And as I mentioned, we're going to be moving towards longevity and anti-aging more and more here in the real near future. And of course, Sunday, time. What is going on? It's going so fast. How can we slow it down? We're going to talk about peace in life and dealing with anxiety. What are some things you can do? So Sundays used to be just a day. I would be a filler day, and sometimes they're like 8 minutes, right? Because I was just trying to be there for people looking to set a new habit here at Morning Coach by listening every day. Now the content's really good, and you can search for the content in the new site. So if you want to look at some time ideas and thoughts, that would be great. With this being said, just so you know, we're still putting a lot of stuff up. We've still got to go through all the AI templates, what they transcribed it, make sure everything's perfect, put the search terms, but we're really moving forward. And I appreciate your patience because the structuring of this is just out of the world. And as we go through this year, we're going to be bringing obviously a lot to you. And as we go into next year, it's just I can't even explain how awesome it is. So let's get started today and talk about, should you work on your strengths or weaknesses? Well, a lot of people have had issues in the past and they didn't know what to work on. I think of Michael Jordan, his story that he got cut from the 8th grade basketball team. And if he didn't get cut from the 8th grade basketball team, he probably wouldn't have worked as hard on his weaknesses, right? And he would have really worked on, he probably would have just played basketball and who knows what would have happened. But being cut, he said, well, I got to work on some of my things. So what do we do? Should we spend more time on improving weaknesses or doubling down on strengths? That's really the question. Like when we're looking at our planning system and the things we're doing, one of the things you're going to hear me say a lot is skills with talent. Like when you start to add skills to talent, that's genius. That's when you really have something. I realized at 55 years old, at 54 last year, when I ran that 5K, which I'd ran a couple of the years before, but never real serious, and then ran a half marathon, that I'm like, man, I'm pretty good at this. And then I started looking at my family history. My grandpa on my mom's side actually was a state champion track runner. So there was some talent there. Like, okay, at 55, to be able to run those speeds, that was talent. So now it's enhancing the skill. It's enhancing the skills that do that, where there's psychological things that I need to do. There's science behind the nutrition that I need to do. There's so many skills when it comes to anything, whether it's picking up golf, learning how to run. You think you just put your shoes on. No, you don't become elite just by going out there and run. Very rarely does somebody have that much talent. So you've got to figure out what skills you're going to work on. So do I work on my cardiovascular fitness? Do I work on my strength? Do I work on my strides? Do I work on what things do I need to work on? And so what we've got to think about is it a strength or weakness, or what do you want to work on? So here's a case for strengths. This is the natural debate, right? You get the most return on investment by refining what you're already great at, okay? And that's some truth, right? You're already great at certain things, and you'll get more investment or return on investment, ROI, based on what you're great at. People like Gary Vaynerchuk and Marcus Buckingham argue that success comes from maximizing strengths. Playing to strengths builds confidence and momentum because you have a strength and you're building on that strength, okay? So that's the case for strengths. But the case for weaknesses, some weaknesses can hold you back from success. Poor communication is limiting business growth. It's worth improving. Maybe you don't like marketing. I know a lot of you don't like marketing, right? Overcoming weaknesses can make you more well-rounded and adaptable, and developing weaker areas can build discipline and character. So there's some times when you need to focus on weakness because the weakness could be holding you back. Like if my cardiovascular fitness is really weak, but my legs are strong and everything else is working well, then that motor that I have, the cardio motor, is going to hold me back. So I've got to work on that weakness. So here's the best approach, okay? So the best approach when we look at this and go, should I work on my strength or my weakness, is really the 80-20 rule. And this is something that I love. You'll hear me talk about Pareto principle, 80-20 a lot. This is just 80-20. It's not Pareto, but we'll get, you've heard me enough talk about Pareto. But this is just an 80-20 rule. Spend 80% of your time mastering strengths and 20% shoring up critical weaknesses. Let me repeat that for those of you who are taking notes. Spend 80% of your time mastering strengths and 20% shoring up your weaknesses. So you're not abandoning your weaknesses. You're just really building on your strengths, right? And then we're taking care of some of the critical weaknesses. So what we need to do is prioritize impact. Not all weaknesses need fixing, okay? There's certain things you can hire people to do. You can bring in support. You can figure other things out. You need to work on the ones that directly affect your success, directly affect your mission, directly affect your vision. Okay, that's what we've got to do. We've got to look at that and prioritize. One of the things I talk about consistently, and you're going to get from MorningCoach, and why this is so important, is because we're constantly prioritizing, and we're constantly refining. It just works. It just works. If you wake up and you start to prioritize your day and you look at things and get clear, it's going to work eventually. Right? It's like picking up guitar. If you've never played guitar before and you prioritize learning guitar and you spend time on it every day, you're eventually going to play guitar. And maybe your weakness is picking. So then you're going to work on your pick hand. That was always my weakness. It's just guitar isn't something I want to do right now. Right? But the bottom line, no matter what you want to do, when you have your mission and your vision and you get really clear, you're going to get there. You've just got to really get structured and understand what you're working on. Now, some other things you can do is you can leverage others. Instead of fixing weakness, you can delegate, you can outsource, you can partner with people who excel in those areas. One of the things I've done, we kind of got a chief marketing officer in Alistair who helps me with that. We got Karen who comes in and helps really organize things and keeps my mind straight. We have Tracy who's helping with support. And so I don't have to see if somebody's complaining, we can keep that away from me so I can focus on the positive elements of the things we're doing. So you leverage others. So the idea is personal versus business growth. Strengthen personal weaknesses, patience, resilience, but in business, play to your strength. Let me repeat that. So strengthen personal weakness, patience, resilience, getting better at marketing, but in business, play to your strengths, okay? In business, you want to play to your strengths. So what are some tips that we can do? Well, we want to identify your core strengths. What are you naturally good at? What do people compliment you on? We'll get more into this in depth on Wednesday, but I really want you to be thinking about it. What are you really great at? And what are 5 high leverage weaknesses? Which weaknesses are actually holding you back? Okay, so once we understand we got these strengths and then we got these weaknesses, then we can double down on your strengths. We can invest in coaching and training, mentorships, masterminds, our collaboration like Inner Circle, things like that to really take you to the next level. And then you could set your growth plan. You can schedule small, consistent efforts on your weaknesses, like 10 minutes of public speaking practice daily. And then surround yourself with strengths. Build a team or a network that complements your weaknesses, right? And so those are our steps that will get you there. So we want to identify your core strengths, which you're naturally good at. We'll talk more about that Wednesday. We want to look at the weaknesses that are holding you back. We want to double down on the strengths, right? Get the right coaching, the training, and the mentorship to get you there, and then set a growth plan so you can do that, and then surround yourself with strengths. Get that strong thing where you need it to be. And for example, I'll use me. One of my really good core aspects is communication. It works for me. So let's say YouTube, which I haven't been doing. Brad, thank you for your suggestion the other day, last couple of weeks ago. But I just have been busy, right? So, but that's one of my strengths. I'm decent on camera. It just works. But my weakness is I just don't really want to spend the time on the editing in that area. And the truth is I can go hire somebody, but it's very challenging. Even with AI, it's challenging for somebody to get your tone. So for me, I got to double down on my strengths, which is to work that and get a game plan, and then look at the editing side of it and see, hey, can I delegate some of it? Can I structure some of that and build a growth plan about building that side of the business, which I'm working on right now because it's important. But a lot of the issues is me. A lot of those issues are because of me. The bottleneck is me, not the business, right? So it's like, where do I find the time to do it? And it's also topical. What topics do we want? We have a new software, which I really like, which is helping us understand, kind of what videos work and what don't, but that's for another day. But the idea is just looking at that weakness could get better. My patience, I just want to shoot it, get it done, and finish it. My patience of making things great is really important. And that's one of the things I'm working so hard on here at MorningCoach. And one of the reasons I'm not spending time on Facebook and I want to spend time in our community is I want this to be great. And so I've made that challenge to myself that another weakness is, what can we do? Where can I spend my time? How can I make things better? What systems can I create that are just amazing, that are life-changing, right? So again, those are the actionable tips. So we want to think about it. Focus on strengths for the biggest impact, but don't ignore critical weaknesses. Again, write that down if you're taking notes. You want to focus on strengths for the biggest impact. That's what we normally want to do, but we don't want to ignore critical weaknesses that are holding you back. And I want you to reflect on, what's one strength you can develop further? What's one weakness you can address? Really think about that and share your thoughts in the Morning Coach community. We'd love to have a discussion there. And if you're having any issues with that, let us know. If you're having problems logging in or whatever, but hub.morningcoach.com. And the mobile app is just fantastic. But love to have some dialogue with you on the things that you're working on, because that's what we do, right? And the more energy that we have, the more people we bring together, the stronger we are. And I have to tell you, I've always said this, and I can't tell you how amazing this community is. And as you get to know people, it's just, I get it. We're an eclectic group of people that do eccentric things and different things. So a lot of times the introversion comes in. We're a little more introverted, so you don't want to connect. But I'm telling you, there are some amazing people within this community. And I always say, if you're doing great, give. If you're not doing great, ask. That's what we do. And the more we do that together, the better things become. Okay? So again, we're going to be spending a lot of time on strengths and weaknesses this week. Let's go start the week off and have a great great start of the week. And then jump up in the community at some point. Check out the meetups that are going on in the new structure because we're using Zoom. And you can sign up for meetups, get to meet some people. And then the key thing with all of this is consistency, right? So if you want to go to a few meetups with Karen or John, Lori, any of the group, then you've got to consistently show up. That's going to be the key thing. All right, let's get out there and have a fantastic day. Let's focus on moving forward. And remember, the basic idea is to focus on strengths, right, for the biggest impact, but don't ignore critical weaknesses. Love you. I'll be back tomorrow right here on MorningCoach.com.